Hello, everyone, and welcome to Twillow Talk. I'm Tanys Coughlan from the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy. I am joined by my beautiful co-host over there, Jennifer Jurkofsky, and we have an awesome guest today, Nan Claudia Valdes. So welcome. So, how's everyone doing? Because the energy has been fascinating, shall we say? It has been fascinating. So before we get too far, I am just going to say a quick hello to some of our viewers. We have Kaylee. Happy Monday to you as well. Mm-hmm. And we have Hypnocity. Hello, Nalani. Welcome. Oh, you need some distraction. Oh, yeah. Sending some energy there, some healing energy for you and your niece. Awesome. So, yeah. So I will go ahead and do my usual, if that's good with everybody. And then we will go on to hear from Jen. There we go. So, as you can see over here, we've had quite an eventful KPI index week or weekend. We rarely get up here in the red, but there was an 8 yesterday, so it's been quite high in the last 2 days. So just being aware of that. You can see all of this here too. We've got a lot of orange on this side with all the different solar winds and everything that's coming in. If you look at the solar flares, we've had a few more M class than we were having for a while. Let me just scroll it up a little bit. We've had some high C's, but a few M class, and all of those contribute to all of this, right? So then when we look at the Schumann resonance, we're up at 53. So yeah, so we're high in most things, in energetics. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. Oh, I see we have some comments about this as well. Kaylee saying she hurts everywhere, joints feel swollen and dizzy. Yeah, I think that's probably due to some of this energetic stuff that's coming in. Yeah, it was a restless day. I'm feeling that today, actually. We also had a CME that landed over the weekend as well. I believe it was yesterday on Sunday. So that impact does create like that little bump up against our atmosphere. So that does create that kind of restlessness. And then, is anyone feeling restless squirrels? Yep. Yeah, definitely. And I think there must be some stuff in the neutrinos. Jen, would you like to share that with us, please?
Oh, the transits. We got to love those neutrinos coming on in. So we're in gate 35 and we just entered gate 35. So we went into this gate yesterday and we're going to be in it until around the 6th. And this is the gate of change. And so this gate is in the throat center and it governs communication and manifesting. And it moves us from the shadow of hunger to the siddhi or the enlightened state, sorry, the dogs, of boundlessness through the gift of adventure. And so what we're looking at here is a shift in the energy and themes around desires for new experiences, change, adventure, all that kind of stuff. So you're talking about this restlessness, this squirrely energy. You're in the right transit for it. Right now, I mean, the channel, actually, the 35, goes to the solar plexus, to the gate 36, and it's the channel of transitoriness. And so if you have that activated right now because of this current transit, you're going to have that energy or that embodiment feeling of wanting to explore new experiences and the potential for new emotions. And that can be the highs and the lows. So just be really mindful of what that means and how that's coming through. When we look at kind of the expression of all of this, there's that like kind of natural adventure, right? That storytelling maybe that wants to happen, wanting to share experiences, lessons, all those kinds of things. But when we look at it from the shadow perspective, Notice if you're feeling that kind of boredom or not wanting to be in a routine, or you want some kind of shift or change in your experience. It kind of feels like it's being pulled from you. Or, now it's kind of that big thing of like FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. So be really mindful that you don't jump into any of that impulsiveness that could lead you to making decisions that you maybe wouldn't otherwise make if we weren't in this energy right now. But the beautiful thing of the energy is the gift of the potential that it has in terms of being able to move into that higher frequency where we're not operating from that place of hunger, right? I want more, I want more, I want to experience more. Instead, we're able to look at our experiences and find ways to inspire. And so that's the beauty of the adventure energy that is possible here. So allow yourself to maybe come into a sense of renewal, being able to bring more vitality into an experience or a community, being able to use stories to unfold things in a better, more enlightened kind of fashion, right? Being able to use the experience to bring us to that next stage of evolution, right? Whatever that looks like for you. Because it is about transformation, right? All of these are, when we're moving from a shadow to a siddhi, is that ability to kind of move through that energy. And so just notice the shifts in where you're putting your focus. Am I putting my focus in, this isn't enough, I need more, I need change, and feeling that discontent in that energy? Or am I putting my focus in the ability to explore and just see what happens, right? And again, this is back into that state of flow energy, right? So am I trying to make stuff happen, or am I allowing myself to be in the place of flow? All right. So that's the energy that we're in. So all that squirreliness and all of that you're feeling, just know that that's going to be a part of it for sure.
Yeah. So, how are you feeling, Claudia?
It feels like today's been a whirlwind. This whole last week has been a whirlwind. But it really makes sense with what you're both saying with the energies. And it's interesting because I follow the Mayan calendar. So I really look at the cycles, and the synchronicities are always so interesting to me. So, yeah.
Fascinating. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about you?
Well, like I said, I follow the Mayan calendar. I'm an initiated Mayan Ajq'ij. So I'm a timekeeper and a spiritual guide. I'm a psychic medium pretty much from birth. I never did disconnect. So I've really just had to learn how to work with the energy. I went for school and did studies as a child and youth worker, also as a certified life coach. I'm doing work and learning about family constellation work as well.
That's great work, yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that I do energetically in the metaphysical world as well. I live here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. So just on the outskirts of Lake Ontario is my watershed. And I'm on the traditional lands of the Erie, the Huron-Wendat, the Mississaugas, and Anishinaabe. Right now, I'm just on the outskirts of what today is known as Six Nations in that area. So I've done some work with the First Nations, and I think that was kind of my calling and longings, to tie into those indigenous roots that I have in Guatemala. So I serve on a couple of different councils. I have a small little store attached to my home where I do services, and I sell tarot cards and incense and candles and all the spiritual, witchy, metaphysical items that you could need and want. Lots and lots of crystals. So yeah, I've got all sorts of different things that I'm involved in.
Awesome.
Amazing.
So, what are we going to talk about, ladies? what's our topic for today? Are we going to pick a card, Jen?
We could.
We could pick a card, unless there's something that you'd like to talk about.
Well,
I could get into further into sharing the synchronicity of what you were talking about and the energy of specifically today.
Yeah,
I would love
please.
that.
Yeah,
That would
so
be amazing.
today in the Mayan calendar, it's Oshlahu Game. Oshlahu is the number 13, and that is 13 tones is what each major energy is. So today we're at that final closing, wrapping up stage. And that really is about spirit. So the first 1 to 7 numbers are more about the earthly plane. Then you have the etheric plane. This is the culmination of it, and it really is spirit guidance. And then today, the energy, the day lord of today is Kame. Kame is the ancestors. It's all about death, rebirth, and transformation. So today is, because you've got both of those spirit elements plus the ancestors, it is kind of like a double whammy day. It's really strong. The veil's very, very thin today. So it's a great day for divination, for readings and messaging. It's with the closeness of the other world, it's also really possible to draw upon the strength and the wisdom of our ancestors. So to call them in for that guidance. The energy of Kame, it encourages us to face our fears, right? And today we have some extra force and guidance to overcome those things because the number is high. These may some of our deepest fears. They could be passed on through generations that we may be dealing with today. So this may be a day of extremely strong changes, possible revelations. Again, all about the power of the spirit world driving your transformation today. And so again, events today could have, massive impact on people's life, their path, the development. So really just keeping the flexibility and knowing that resistance is kind of futile. So really acceptance of the changes should lead us to our highest and best aspect is pretty much what it's telling us, but really working with divinity and our ancestors and how they're wanting to guide us in the messages that they've got for us.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. I always love sharing the calendar and the energy of the day. I feel that it's just so significant, and it really just teaches us. It's based on us, on humans and everything we interact with and how we're all interconnected. So I love it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, you're muted, Tanys.
And how would you usually calculate what the person's sign is? Because I know there's the Mayan glyphs as well, in terms of being similar to astrology or horoscope sort of stuff. Do you have a preferred tool that you use for that?
There is. There's all sorts of handy dandy apps nowadays. So I do use an app just because it's easier. You plug in your Gregorian birth date and you can come up with it. I would check it on a couple of different websites or things like that, or apps, just because some of them kind of go under this new dream spell stuff that's not quite the same. So there's some synchronicity and some similarities, but it really isn't the same. So just double check to make sure that you're getting the same kind of answer each time. But unlike the horoscopes that we're used to, the Scorpio and Virgo and Leo and all of those, in the Mayan calendar, the way it works, there's a combination of the 13 tones plus the 28 day lords. So that gives us an actual combination of 220 possibilities. So instead of just 12.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it's a lot more in depth to working with the Mayan astrology and the Mayan calendar that way.
So I played with the Mayan calendar or the glyphs a little bit. I have a book and stuff with some cards and whatnot that I've used for it. Do you have that there? Yeah. So I have that one.
First book.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So In there, I am, I believe, a 7 tone.
A 7, yeah.
And this was the
Yes, that's the glyphs. It's the
Okay.
galactic one. And I'm also, what do we call it? Keeb is the glyph.
so
Is that one you're familiar with?
What the regular Mayan calendar is, or if this with the oracle cards is different.
I'm thinking it's different because I just looked it up on a different one. That's why I was on mute a minute ago, because I thought, oh, I should just look it up, because I couldn't quite remember. That's why I'm saying I think it's a 7 tone, but I'm not sure. When I look it up on this one here, which is mymayansign.com, it's different. It's a knife and a galactic tone 1. So
Okay, so that's part of the dream spell. So as soon as you get into like galactic tones and like the mermaid stuff and the dragon this and the dragon that, or the wizard this, we don't have that. That's part of the dream spell. It's a very, very fairly new calendar that, in my opinion, is really appropriated from about 3-4 different aspects to get to where they're at. So there's a lot of controversy. Because of my lineage, because of my initiation, I really stick pure and true to our original calendar. So our original calendar is like ancient. So that's the one I follow, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, if I had your birthday, I could find out what your energy was.
Okay.
In our calendar.
You see the little tab on the side? I'm going to put my birth date in there.
Okay.
Do you have a site, though, for those that are watching that would be one that you think is a good, reliable, and authentic one?
There you go.
Yes. I think... Let me get back to you on that one. How's that?
Sure.
So if we have one, then we'll put it in the notes after the show.
That would, yes.
Up, we'll put it in the notes after the show.
Now, where did you put it?
In the private chat on the right-hand side. You should have a little red number there.
Yep, I got it.
That says, hi. So, speaking to our viewers, is there anyone that's played with that before? I know that Kaylee and I have done the ones that Jen showed in terms of that. And the description for that one for my birthday was very accurate in terms of that. But I'm sure it's probably part of the one that is not one that you...
And it is very close, because when you said something about the knife, right?
There was a knife.
I knew that meant tihash. Tihash is the obsidian blade, which is the knife. Okay. And your tone, though, what I get from the calculations, your tone is 1.
Yep, that's what I had on that one as well.
1 tihash.
Okay.
Is what your tone is. And then if you look closer, it comes out with a Mayan cross. So you also know what your conception energy was, right? And kind of like some of the base that you're coming in with. And then it leads to your destiny energy. Okay. And after your 52nd year, or you're into your 50s and on, you start working more into that destiny energy. And then it's got your helpers on either side, the ones that support, the ones that challenge, the ones that teach, guide, that sort of thing. So it's interesting because you can really pick out someone's energy and fine tune things, because everything has a tone and a number and stuff. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. That's amazing.
It is fascinating. I'm going to actually take a picture of this, and afterwards I'll send it to you. How's that?
Perfect. Thank you.
Instead of giving a reading and laying it all out here for...
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it offline. I was just curious about the number.
Understand a little bit better.
I was really curious about, like, because I knew that there was different ones coming up when I was doing the search, right? So that's why I thought, well, let's ask the expert. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I would be cautious. Again, try to go as traditional, if that makes sense, as possible. So again, if you're getting a lot of, and it's different than a translation, but if you're getting a lot of things like dragon and wizard and, mermaid, galactic, that kind of energy, really, it's not something that we use traditionally.
Okay.
So each glyph has a name, has different characteristics and things associated with it. So yeah. Now I'm just pulling up Jennifer's too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I found one, and I don't know if it's any good or not because it does say galactic tone, but then it has like day sign and Chicana sign. I don't know if
Yeah, the Chicana, that's from the south.
Okay.
So in the south, the Condor is the energy of the Condor. They use a Chicana.
Okay.
So I've got you as 12 Eek.
Yeah, that's what this one says. So maybe this
Okay,
is
and Eek is the wind, is the breath.
Nice.
And Tan's, yours was the obsidian blade.
Okay, so I am the blade.
Okay.
Oh dear, that sounds kind of.
Well, that's really interesting though, because in this one, I'm Exneb, I think it's called.
Yeah.
If I got it right. And it is it's the mirror, but it's the blade that cuts through illusion, according to the write-up in this book, which, may or may not be correct, but that felt very fitting in terms of.
See, and then there's the Mayan Quiche, or there's the Mayan from Guatemalan, there's the Yucatan word, or the Yucatan name for it.
Oh, so maybe that's what's
so that makes
different.
Exactly.
more.
So the one you're using is definitely Yucatan, because I somewhat know them, but I definitely know in the Maya Quiche tradition the names.
Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting. And this is a 12.
But you are definitely the wind and the breath. You are Eek.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will.
And it's so
have to
interesting because you can tell how people are going to get along as well. Like just right now, quickly looking at this dynamic that we have going on here is actually really, really good because we're in each other's crosses along the way, which is also very interesting because, for instance, Jennifer, your conception, Ish, is my destiny.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
and Tihash is my conception. So your energy now is actually my conception. Your conception energy is my destiny energy. And we have similar, so it's a whole thing to decipher, but it's very really cool the way it works.
Oh, so awesome.
Yeah.
It's so neat that like Tanys was saying, we've played around with the glyphs on this one, but it just gives a write-up of what is there. But I love this aspect of it where it talks about how we are interconnected and how our energies mesh, right?
Absolutely.
To see, where we're going to get along, where we're going to hold space for one another, how we're able to connect in certain ways. I think that's beautiful.
Well, that's just like the human design, Jen, that you do, right? Because Jen has done our human design together because we do so much together and we've been together for lifetimes and whatnot. So
Nice.
She did it and we literally filled in each other's blanks on the human design. So we complement each other well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And by looking at the Mayan cross, you can see that as well. Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
great.
So cool.
So cool. Well, and what's really interesting is there was I actually had somebody send me, and I'd have to go back and find it again, but the connection between the Mayan calendar and the I Ching, because it's the I Ching that is when we talk about like the transits, right? We're in the 35. It's the I Ching that we're using. Right? But we're using it in the human design or the gene keys kind of translation of what it is, but it's still the original, that I Ching, which is change for us right now. Energy. Right. So there's a connection between those two as well that I'd love to dive deeper into. Maybe we can explore that at some
And I
point.
think it's all just like more layers to who we are, right? And to what's out there.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, I know I'm a Virgo, and it's like, whoa, like this fits in here and here and here. And then when I look at what my sign is as a Kame, I'm like, wow, okay, I really see that energy as well. And then when you go, okay, in the Chinese horoscope, what am I? And you just start to like look at all of those layers, and you're like, okay, there's definitely something to this.
Yeah.
The threads that weave, right? That synchronicities.
Well, and I think that's the beautiful part, eh? The more of them that you do, there is always this commonality that goes through that you can see. And really that's the basis, I think, of who we are when we look at all the commonalities with all the modalities that we would bring to it in terms of that. There's basic things that go through it all. And then there's nuance from each one. And they may be different nuance from each other, but they complement each other, and that sort of thing. Anyways, it's fascinating. So we have a few people here we should say hello to who have joined us.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Annie Bear. Welcome. And, oh, yes. Nalani asks, does it matter where we were born when we're looking at the Mayan stuff?
No, as long as you've got the date and the energies between this time and this time.
Okay.
Right, so it's the same thing like with the Gregorian calendar, right? I mean, it's based kind of like on that, but there's just more to them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, things like human design and then certain astrology, they want to know the time and the location as well. But this is fantastic. It's just the day. There's not as much complication in terms of, well, if I was born in the morning, I'm this, or in the evening, I'm that.
Well, and sometimes, because again, if you are born just at say certain times, you may have some of the energy from the day before carried over, right? Because they really kind of like our calendar, the way it is, it really overlaps. It's almost like it feels like dominoes. One leads into the other.
Okay.
Is the way I look at it. So
cool. Well, and I would think like my youngest was actually born at 12:01 or 12:02 in the morning. Right. So maybe that could go either way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, true. That's neat. I was 101 in the morning. I didn't know he was up. Anyway. I just didn't know this about your children.
Yeah. It's so funny because I always say anything to just not be on time, because that's his like life, right? Anything to just not be on time. And he was due on the 7th and he came like a minute into the 8th. So anything to not be on time.
That'll do it. Big hello to Terrell Stash. Hey, Gerald.
Hello.
He says, this is curious. I think it's interesting to see the connections between people. For sure. That's what we got.
Absolutely. Well, and what you were talking to there in terms of, us holding these different spaces for one another and that destiny piece and all of that. And in the human design, what we look at is that sun, right? Because that the sun is the biggest piece of our incarnation cross, right? Our sun and earth on both sides. And then we look at that and go, okay, if we run into people who their nodes are the same as our sun, right? It's that what we're moving towards, and they are, they're moving towards it for us and vice versa. And so there's just all of these beautiful interconnected pieces. But I love the way that you were talking about it with the Mayan calendar, that idea of, our destiny, like what we're, moving from and to, and all of that. It's a beautiful
Especially for those of us that are over 50.
Huh?
Especially for those of us that are over 50.
Well, now that I've got your birth date, I know that we were born the same year.
There we go. Awesome. So I just told everybody you are over 50. I hope that's okay.
I got really good with my 50s. It was entering my 40s that I had an issue with.
Me
When
too.
I was 39, I said I was 39 plus tax for about 3-4 years. I kept saying I'm 39 plus tax.
Yeah.
I was really excited about entering my 50s.
Yeah, it's funny. I had a hard time at 25. I know that sounds really weird, but it was like all of a sudden I had to be an adult. I was like, wait.
Oh,
I
you
have to
put
be
that
an
on
adult?
yourself way too early. I was there around 30 thinking I got to be an adult now.
No. I was 25. I was married. I just bought a house and full-time job. And I was like, oh, I guess I got to be an adult now.
Oh, yeah, I was married and had a house, but I didn't care about being an adult yet.
See, I'm doing that now.
Yeah.
I don't want to be an adult now. I'm going to regress a little bit now that I'm in my 50s and just, take up some of that playful energy.
But isn't that the beautiful piece, right? Like we come through all of these different stages where we don't care. As kids, we can be friends with anybody. Nothing matters. It's all good. And then we get into that phase of like completely self-aware and self-conscious because we're self-aware. And so everything shifts. And then eventually we have to get to a point where it doesn't matter anymore again. Okay.
Yeah.
And so being able to come back to that childlike wonder with the world.
Yep. That's where I'm at. That's what I'm working towards. I can't say I'm perfect at that, but I'm definitely working towards that. So we have some new friends. Well, new old friends. Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
Welcome. And we have Bora Bora. Hi. Welcome. Jonathan says he is an eternal child.
Awesome.
Perfect. And Kaylee says she still has not come to terms with adulting, and she's 37. So,
hey, we each have our journeys.
I actually admire that. I was so serious in my younger years.
Yeah. Do you find, Claudia, in terms of understanding maybe some of these things like the glyphs and all of that and recognizing the energy for the days and stuff like that, like how does that impact or guide kind of what you choose to do in a day?
Absolutely. It just makes sense, right? It's like, it just makes sense. Like for me, it's like if I want fresh vegetables and I want to support the local farmers and market day and the stall is open on Tuesday, I'm not going to show up on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If I want to do work cutting ties, cutting boundaries, things like that, removing dis-ease, fine-tuning certain things, I'll look for the appropriate day to focus and set that intention, right? If I'm working with the water, I'll pick the energy of the water. If I want to create abundance or I want to manifest something, I'll pick the days that are more in aligned with that energy so everything supports each other, right? So it absolutely, every day, it makes sense in my world. And it makes things easier. There's a natural flow. Not only that, but in the Mayan tradition, we really have this belief that to be a whole human being, a healthy whole human being, you have to work on all layers and aspects. So that's mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and material. Mm-hmm. And our calendar really allows that. We focus on, the masculine energies in our world. We focus on the feminine energies of our world, on the water, on the elements, again, the air, nature, the trees, the spirit, the ancestors, so that you're going to work with that energy at least every 20 days.
Yeah.
When it comes to authority or dealing with legal issues or things like that, every 20 days. When it comes to forgiveness, and forgiveness, that sort of energy, every 20 days. So again, it allows us to be in that flow and to keep that balance of the emotional, the mental, the physical, and all of those aspects a little easier.
Yeah. What a great way to intertwine it into your own spiritual practices too, right? In terms of your own healing. Absolutely. I'm just thinking I could do the Ho'oponopono on the forgiveness days. In my own, that's where my head went, was like, oh, forgiveness. I could do the Ho'oponopono on that day.
Absolutely. On the day of forgiveness, on the day of water.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. Yeah.
It's amazing too, because I think it gives us permission to not have to do it all. We can take that step back and go, okay, I worked on that day. I don't have to keep trying. I don't have to keep pushing for it. How do I allow myself to be in flow, right? That's a question that comes up so often. How do I let myself be in flow? And this is a gorgeous way to allow yourself to be in flow and to recognize, like, as you said, on the market, I go to the market days. On the water days, I'm going to work with the water days. On the forgiveness days, I'm going to work on that. So each time we're in a particular energy, we allow ourselves to just be in flow with that energy. But then we also don't force ourselves to have to deal with something when it's not the energetic time for it. So we give ourselves permission to actually step back from things sometimes.
Right. And as you say that, it leads me to even think about, like, the day, for instance, Kanil. That's all about our seed. And there's so many aspects to that, right? Because is it about planting the seed, or am I waiting to harvest something? So you're talking about the different aspects of that, the ripening. If I just leave it a little bit longer, will I get twice as much harvest for it? Or is it time for me to plant the seeds? Is it time for me to cultivate? That sort of thing. So within that, it gives you different aspects and layers to look at as well, right? So, yeah.
Beautiful.
I love that piece of reflection that comes with going, is it time? Right? Just because it is that day also doesn't mean that we're meant to do that specific thing that we think we're supposed to do.
That's right.
Right? To truly step in and feel like, is it actually time? Does this feel correct for me in this moment? Right? And I always say open and curious, right? What else is possible? Just because my mind is telling me it has to be this way, what else is possible? What else could this mean?
Right.
Yeah, and if it doesn't feel right on that day anyways, we've got it again in 28 days?
20
days. 28, I've got that in my head. So every 20 days, so we can put it off till the next one.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no, because it's funny, because again, don't forget, everything's layered. So right. Yes, we come back to the energy, the main energy, the day Lord, but the tone connected to that day Lord, we won't see again for another 220 days.
Okay, that's pressure.
Actually, it's more than that. Sorry. My math is off today. See, I am off. I keep saying 220. It's actually 260. Our calendar is based on 260 days. So it's not 220 possible. It's 260. Yeah. So for instance, 13 Kame, we won't see another 13 Kame for another 260 days.
Wow. That feels like a lot of pressure to get it done today.
Right. So we'll see Kame again in 20 days. And we'll see the 13 tone in 13 days.
Yes,
but this combination we won't see for 260 days.
Okay, I better get on whatever that is today, because I'm not going to be able to do anything with it for another year. So we have, I see. So Bora Bora is actually Janet. So welcome. And Nalani says, balance. I struggle with that sometimes. I think that's a common one that we struggle with, this balance, right? And to everything there is a season.
And now I want to sing. No, you guys don't want me to sing. As we know, I break into song regularly. That doesn't mean that people actually want to hear me sing.
I was at her place for a weekend, and I think we went through about 80 songs.
Oh, wow.
Almost everything was a song. It was great.
That's cute.
Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. But.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what does your what kind of practices do you do in terms of your spiritual practices then?
My main thing that clients come to me for is as a medium. Okay. That's one of the biggest things I do. Then probably the counseling, and then probably holistic healing, whether it's working with the meridians or energy work, that sort of thing. But my number one service, I always have a mediumship reading. Someone wants to, I do tend to use tarot cards as well. Not traditionally tarot reader, because I do my own thing. And I started to use them just so that people wouldn't look at me like I had three heads, to be honest. It gave people a focal point.
It does. It does.
And that sort of thing, because like I said, I mean, I hear, I feel, I've got all the clairs.
Yeah.
And over the years, I've really strengthened all the clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance. So my main service is the psychic mediumship readings.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And do you do personal
them in person? I do them online.
Okay.
What was that? Sorry.
Do you do personal spiritual stuff too? Like, do you do your own personal? Like, I do ritual every day because I'm a Celtic shaman. So I do my own meditation and my own sort of ritual stuff every day. Do you have anything like that you do every day? Or frequently.
My life is kind of like a ritual.
Okay, so everything is a ritual. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do, because every day I get up and I honor the energy of the day. Beautiful. So immediately I call in, the heart of the heavens, the heart of the sky, the heart of the Mother Earth. I call in on the four directions. I give thanks to the guardian and to the energy of the day. I end off my days that way as well. I'm always lighting a candle. One for the energy of the day, two for anyone that I may have on my healing list, or prayers, or clients, or things like that have me doing energetic work for them. So I'll do things like that. It is a constant for me. Yeah. And I am such a medium that I really kind of, sometimes I'm not very grounded. I really kind of do live in between spaces. So sometimes I'll just kind of sit here, and it's not really a meditation, but I am getting like a download, or awesome. I'm traveling somewhere, or some, things like that tend to happen.
We understand that, Jess?
I figured so.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll be sitting here and I'm like, oh, I'm getting pinged. One moment, please.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. Here I am back again.
Yeah. I mean, every room in our house, we have an altar set up. If not multiple altars. I've got like this space here that really, I've got it. It started out as my treatment room, and then it just kind of became a surplus of kind of like an altar space, a big altar room. Yeah. It became an altar room. So it was like, okay, I will do clients in the next room, and we just kind of like turn everything into an altar space.
That's beautiful though.
Yeah, I love that.
I have quite a few rooms with them.
You definitely walk into my house, and people go, whoa, okay. But again, my store is attached to my house, and if you see the things that I sell and stuff like that, it only makes sense that we have a lot of that sort of stuff here at home. Like at first I kept trying to see how I was going to tilt the camera because I'm thinking, oh, that looks weird. But I have my silver fox hanging over the door right now. And all you can kind of see with one angle is like the tail and stuff. And I'm thinking, I collect and I have the weirdest things in this house. But
it's tough when you have a store too, right? Because you're looking through all the stuff and you're like, ooh, oh, look at that. Oh, we got to order some of that and one for me. And then we got to order some of that and one for me. And we have a small store as well. So,
people look at me and it's like, wow, you've got a lot of crystals or you've got a lot of this in your car. It's like, well, don't you? It's like, you even got them in the bathroom. Well, don't you? I've got, between the rocks and the crystals and the candles and the incense everywhere, I've got feathers, I've got bones. I thought by having a spiritual retreat center, which is like in the forest, 42 acres of forest, that would help my partner keep the wood outside. Every other stick wants to be a wand or a staff or something. And it still has to make its way into the house instead of living outside until it's that. So, yeah.
I get that.
That's absolutely fabulous.
I get that.
My excuse is, with the tarot cards, if you're going to sell them, you got to see what they look like. You can't open them up and then sell them, right? So I got to keep the deck, right?
Exactly.
So between us, I don't know how many decks we have. I don't usually even use them, but I like to have them.
You never know when one of them is going to say, use me, because they do that.
Yeah, I've got crystals and things everywhere.
Yeah, it's so interesting. We did the Holistic Healing Fair in Ottawa a couple weekends ago, and I kept all my card decks, and so many of them are like, bring me with you, and I'm like, I'm not going to use all of you. You're like, bring me, and I used all of them at some point throughout the day, and I'm going, okay. All right.
It's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here is a question for you. Does Nan use the energy of the client's birthday in her work? Like my birthday energy is 8. Aho?
How?
Would that be a foundation for the work?
It's funny, to be honest. No, I don't. I actually keep them totally separate. It's really funny because when I do my mediumship work, when I do my psychic work, I rather know as little as possible. I'd rather not know anything. I like going cold. I love going cold and just broaching it that way. And then at the end of a reading, I might get curious, or I might have by then figured out from the messaging what I've got in their energy and things like that. Sometimes, what their sign might be, what their nawal might be. Every once in a while, I might look it up for them. But again, it's something I do separately. So if someone wants to know their mind energy or their mind cross or how they can work with the dynamics in life and things like that, I'll do that separately.
Awesome. Yeah, it's interesting. I think I'd probably do that kind of thing too. I do sort of my healing work separate from, although it tends to get a little bit no, never mind. I take that back. It's been getting muddier lately. Muddier just in that you're there, because I always joke, I just do what I'm told. And so the guides have had me pulling different things in now for a while into my healing sessions as well.
Yeah, see, my healing, I don't do any messaging unless it's really something important, that's needed at the end. Then it's like literally a quick, 1-2 thing, 1-2 minute thing. I usually kind of do more trance channeling, trance healing, that sort of thing as well. I will get out of the way. I do what needs to be done, what spirit deems necessary, based on the client and spirit. They know. So I just kind of help facilitate that.
Mm-hmm.
If I pick up some messaging, I that's not what they're there for. They're there for the physicality of it, or the spiritual, the release, whatever that is. So again, I keep that separate. I used to kind of mesh and combine my services a lot, but again, it gets blurred, and there's so many things I do that I figured, okay, does someone, and that's the difference too, because it was like if I was going to do mediumship, then I'm giving most of the information. If someone's in for counseling, then it's more of a two-way thing, and then they have to maybe give me some information, right? So again, it depends on what they're really wanting and needing than me just kind of giving everybody messages, or me just working with everybody's Mayan energy, so that sort of thing.
What about you, Jen? How do you do that?
Yeah, so integrated, right? That word that
that
has there.
That came up here, integrated.
It's very much like that. But to what you were saying, I think for me, it's when I'm meeting with somebody in the very beginning, we'll talk about what is it you would like integrated? How would you like things to flow? What are you interested in? And then from there, we move forward. And so I may have some clients who want their human design to be part of their psychotherapy sessions. And so that looks very different than somebody who says, no, that's not what they want as part of their session. And so it really depends on what feels aligned for the client. So I always say no two sessions are the same, because somebody might want that psychotherapeutic Reiki as part of their session. So we'll have talk therapy and energy is flowing. Some people want, if they want more of that somatic release, then maybe we're going to bring in some of the meridians and the points, and we're going to work on those kinds of things and release. Maybe I'll give them some brain gym exercises, things like that, to help them navigate that energy. And it really truly depends on the person and what they're looking for.
Mine are like that too. It really depends. And I talk to them about it at the beginning, usually as well, their first session. But then from then on in, it's up to them what they tell me to do, right? The guides. They're all over. But anyway, it's the guides as what they want. And unless the client wants something different.
Well, I think it's different too, though, when you're doing the healing sessions, it's not regulated in the same way. Whereas doing the therapy with CRPO and all of that kind of stuff, like the client really has to bring it to the session. Yes. If they don't bring it in, I don't bring it in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so that really does dictate where we go and how we operate in a session.
Yeah, that's different kind of constraints around, or boundaries around it.
Yeah,
for sure. So I see we have our 5-minute-ish warning.
We did.
Oh, thank you. Jonathan said, I've really enjoyed my sessions with both Tanys. Thank you.
So our 5-minute warning is for Seeds from the Sacred Feminine. So you talk about decks. This is one of my faves.
This is our home play, we call it. This is what to work on for people.
You got it. So what are we meant to play with this week?
Kaylee says ditto.
Okay, because you can't make this stuff up. Okay. What is our transit? Let's go back. It is this, progress and change. We're looking at hunger, moving to adventure, into boundlessness. Quest for a new vision.
Okay.
So again, it
there we go.
As it is.
Spend time deciding what it is that you want your new vision to be.
So let's just find it here. Quest for a new vision. All right, guys, here we go. You have forgotten the sacred feminine wisdom of your ancestors lives within you. It is time to unravel the training that keeps you from connecting with that wisdom. Make time, grandchild. Disrupt your daily routine. Your steps are faltering because you are deaf to the whispers of your spirit. To hear your spirit, you must get quiet. Spend time alone seeking the inner world of the sacred feminine. It is time for a vision quest. A traditional vision quest is a 2 to 4 day fast on the land with nothing but you and the natural elements. No distractions, no weapons, no shelter. A vision quest brings you into contact with the natural world and teaches you what you need to know. Remember this ancient wisdom. You're being called to the land to a quest, a new vision for your life. Any amount of time in nature will help you. You must dream a new dream before the dream can become real. Listen, dream, for much beauty lies on the horizon.
Perfect.
Right? So that's that movement. There's no hunger in that. That's pure adventure and boundlessness.
Oh, Kaylee says she got Vision Quest in another reading today. Interesting.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very good.
The quest for that vision. See what it is that we want to bring into our experience, and how do we do that in ways that light us up, bring us joy, and keep us grounded.
Do we have to be grounded? I just don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about being totally grounded.
Okay, how about this? While earthing.
Okay. Does that have anything to do with adulting?
No.
Okay, good. Just
I'm going to go with a straight no for that.
It's the adulting we want to be rebelling against, right?
Go run barefoot through the grass, right? The things that we don't tend to do. Go and roll down a hill. Go and do all of the things that, we don't need to be adults for.
Exactly.
And that leads into tomorrow, because that's a great thing to do for tomorrow's energy. Kech the deer.
Ooh.
All about nature and the wild hunt. So it's funny that you say that.
Amazing. That's again, you can't make this stuff up. It comes through, and there we go. I love it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Beautiful.
We all need more of that.
Do you have anything coming up that you'd like to share with the audience? Because your website is down below, so if you want to
yes, actually, I am making improvements to the website, so I'm just starting to add products. I will be adding our next event, which is now for the summer solstice. It will be on our 42 acres retreat, just here in northern Ontario, or north of Toronto area. Yeah, you never know what pops up and where I'm going to be. So I do try to post things on either my Facebook or on my website.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So please connect, everyone. And don't forget to like and share today's show, please. That would be lovely. Jen, what have you got going on this week?
That's a good question. I think this is it for me this week.
Oh,
we have Galactic Gab on Friday.
We have Galactic Gab with Dr. Lisa Thompson. The two of us will be on Friday. 7:30.
And we've got something else that I need to share with you that's going to be a surprise for all of you, but a pre-recorded session.
Oh, yes. We were talking about that.
So that'll be super fun. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And don't forget to take a look at the beyondbeinghuman.org/support-groups, and you'll get to see support groups that are available each week. Again, they're free to join, and you can sign up and see Claudia again. I know you're doing.
If there's any youth out there or any parents out there who have sensitive children that are experiencing, things beyond the veil and things that they can't explain, we've started a group just for that. So please come in and join us.
Excellent. So needed.
Thank you so much. This was so fun, ladies. It was great to hang out with you.
Thank you. It was great. And I have a Reiki 2 in-person in Ottawa. If anyone is interested, it's on Sunday. So
Nice.
as a heads up, and then final words. Anybody final words? Okay.
They're not sending anything through.
They're not sending anything through.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have some? And that's when it just goes quiet. And maybe maybe that's what it is.
Yes.
Get quiet.
Get quiet
Just
and then
quiet.
play.
And play.
Ooh. And silence is golden.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Nice.
So with that, we bid you all farewell. And we send you off with love and light. And we will see you next week or on Friday for Galactic Gap. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a wonderful conversation. We so appreciate your presence and your energy. And thank you for all of you in the audience as well. Anyone who's watching now or later. Lots of love to all of you. So
Blessings.
take care, everyone. And lots of love.